Hey there, it is January 13th, 2017, and for today's video, pardon my attire, but I decided to put on a robe. It's a little cold today, so that's how we're going to shoot this. Today's video is going to be on a little bit more of a personal, serious topic, and as you can tell by the thumbnail, it's about why I will never be a father. Now, there are actually several reasons that could be implemented as the answer to this. The very first one is I'm gay. I haven't made a video about that part of my life on this channel yet because one, my being gay doesn't define me as a person, it's just a part of me, and two, there really isn't any reason to do that, but now you know. Obviously, being a gay man, I'm not going to end up having a child biologically. It just doesn't happen. And I know a lot of people will say, well, you can always adopt. Yes, I could adopt. However, one, to be quite frank, I don't want to. If I were to have a child, I would want to have a biological one. And two, adoption costs a lot of money. And it's not even guaranteed that you will get a kid. I googled the average amount that it would cost to adopt a child right here in America. Not going to a foreign country and getting like a third world child to pull them out from poverty and give them a better life. I googled how much it costs on average to adopt a child right here in America, and that should be coming up on the screen now. So I could spend all that money and then not even be guaranteed that I would end up with a kid. Now, I'm sure there are some type of regulations or formalities or something to where, you don't spend shitloads of money and not get a child in the end. But I don't know. I've never tried to adopt a child, and I don't ever plan on doing that. So I don't know if there's any repercussions, and like if you spend that much money and you don't end up actually getting a kid, like something happens or they back out or whatever the deal is. But in the end, even if you did get your money back, just the experience of going through all that, going through all the appointments, possibly even getting to the point of meeting the child that you could potentially have, and then something happened to where you actually don't end up with them. That's a pretty big disappointment. Number two, frankly, I've never really been a huge fan of children. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I feel like the generation that's my generation is a little lax in discipline. But I don't. I think of all the crying, and I think of all the temper tantrums, and I think of all the diaper changing, and I'm sure there's other things I'm not thinking about right now, and it just makes me think, yeah, I don't want to be a parent. And on another note, the news, national news, recently did, and I did a Google search here right before this video just to kind of verify it, a story about the study that was done about the average amount it costs to raise a child. It is over $230,000. Now, I am not the most financially stable person in the world. I work 40 hours a week, in the retail industry, which, granted, the job I have now is the most I've ever made at any job I've ever had. So that is a plus. But to me, frankly, I just don't feel that it's enough to raise a child. And if I cannot be financially secure enough to raise a child, then to me, that's not fair to the child. Another reason I don't think I'll really ever be a father, actually not really don't think, I will never be a father, is because I value my freedom too much. I know that from kind of looking outside the bubble of parenthood, once you have a child, you really kind of lose your own freedom. And I know a lot of people would say, well, once you have a kid, your life is so much more fulfilled and it's so much better, and you don't care about, going out and this and that when you have a child at home that, can make you super happy and everything. That's great. And if having a child, fulfills you or makes you feel like your life has more meaning, then that's great. If it works for you, then it works for you. However, I value my freedom, and it's very nice to be able to, if me and my fiance want to go do something, we can just go do it. We don't have to, think, oh, okay, well, where can we go that's child friendly? Or we don't have to think, oh my gosh, I hope we can find a babysitter in the next 30 minutes or an hour, especially if it would have been like a Friday or Saturday night, which makes it even harder. Now, with all that being said, and the reasons why I won't be a father, not to mention also my fiance and I, when we, not like one of the first conversations, because it would probably be kind of a turnoff, but one of the conversations we did have early on in our relationship was if either of us did or did not want kids, and we both had a lengthy talk. Excuse me. Actually, a few of them throughout the course of a bit of stretch of time, and we both decided that neither of us want kids. Major reason is because, as I just said, we both value our freedom way too much. Now, with all that being said, unfortunately, I am kind of sad, not so much for me, but for my parents, that I will never have a kid of my own. I am an only child. Therefore, since I'm not having any children, I am the last bloodline of my family. And I know my parents have always thought about having a grandchild or grandchildren. They've told me that before. But, unfortunately, I can't live my life for them. And they know that. They've expressed that. And I have to live my life for myself. And to me, unfortunately, my life does not include a child. But at the same time, with me being an only child and the last person in my family, I'm very disappointed that after I'm gone, that's it. And in some weird reason, it feels like I'm throwing my family down the drain because, as I said, once I pass away, that's it for my last name. And I think about my dad and his wife, my grandparents, and their parents, and so on, and everybody that's carried on our family name up to me. I'm the wall. I'm where it stops. And even though that's a lot of weight on my shoulders, and I feel as though, even though I know they've expressed that I'm not, I feel as though I'm letting my parents down by not having a child and giving them a grandchild that I know they would love and adore. But I feel like I'm letting them down as far as like not carrying on our family name. But at the same time, as I said before, I have to live my life. I have to do what feels right for me, and I have to do what is fair for a child. If I can't financially support a child, that's not fair to the child. And I just don't see myself having a kid. However, I will be more than happy to give my parents grandpuppies or grandkitties, but I'm where it stops. This is it as far as my immediate family goes. I am the end. And that kind of makes me want to make a bigger impact in my life. So, yeah, that is why I will never be a father. For people out there who are parents, you know, I'm sure that once you had your child, your world changed, which is completely understandable. Granted, I will never understand that feeling. And I can never know exactly what you feel on a day-to-day basis when you see your kid every day. But unfortunately, that lifestyle is just not for me or for my fiance. And we're okay with that. We've talked about it, and we've agreed that kids are not for us. But as I said before, there are the other factors too, as far as not having the financial resources to raise a child. And just letting go of that freedom, being able to say, hey, let's go here, and walk out the door and go do it, instead of having to try and find somebody to watch our child or someplace that was child friendly. But that's the end of this video, because I know people will joke around, or have joked around, said, "Oh, when are you gonna give your kids when are you gonna give your parents a grandkid?" and things like that. And especially if it's somebody that doesn't know I'm gay, or I haven't told that I am, it's a very awkward kind of, well, and you kind of either brush it under the rug or quickly change the subject or something like that. But it's just, it is what it is. I will never be a father, and I'm okay with that. And I know my parents are too.